Well, hello there, Ingafay here. Super excited to be with you all today. I have a special guest today that I'm wanted to share with you. By the way, I am a confidence coach to direct sellers, network marketers, and home-based business owners for those that don't know me. So let's get back into the interview. I do have one of my special guests. She is a national trainer for her direct sales company. She's been with her company for over 14 years. While doing that, she decided to branch off and decided to coach direct sellers outside of her company about 5 years ago. So she's also a coach for direct sellers as well. She's in the top 1%, y'all, of her company. So she definitely knows what she's talking about today. And she has been consistent for over 5 years with her current production with her team. Now, you guys know that I talk about consistency and how important that is to really break down the barriers to grow a successful business. Well, this lady has definitely done it. And we're about to talk to her and get her the 411 on actually how to build this thing big. So without further ado, this is Emily Nowlan. Emily, welcome, girlfriend.
Hey, thank you. Thank you for that kind introduction too.
Oh, you are so welcome. I'm so excited to have you here today. So what we're talking about today is how to find your fire and your flow. So it's all about that. But before we go into that, I would love for you to share with the audience who you are, who you serve, and what you do for them.
Yes. Well, I'll keep this as brief as possible, but I started with a health and fitness company because I was a personal trainer and group fitness instructor. And as that progressed, as we grow and we realize other pieces of our puzzle and other skills that we have, I believe the fitness industry needs to be shifted in some major ways to really find that fire and flow for people in their health and fitness journey, but also their life and their business. So I help and I empower holistic health coaches, other coaches, fitness professionals that are progressive thinking to expand their outreach, expand their connection with their clients, expand how they work with their clients, and in doing so, expand also their residual income. So that's who I am, what I do. I guess that's what I do.
Okay, so now we got to get down to the nitty gritty, girl. So tell us about this fire and flow. What is fire and flow?
That's a great question. I just actually was talking to my clients about this because to me, fire is misunderstood in our culture because we are a go, 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 check the boxes, do the things, go kind of culture, which is okay, to some degree, that we do have to have that fire. We have to have that get things done, that action. In a workout, it's the counting the reps, it's doing the weights, but we also have to balance that out with that flow. And when we have the fire in our soul, that flow will really come naturally, where we're not just doing things to do things and pushing harder and doing more and 10xing, but things like our life and our business and whatever we're working on accelerates and expands without us working harder. The right people start coming into your life, and that flow happens. To give the example in a fitness standpoint, it's always an easy analogy for me, is like the fire is that counting the reps, like I mentioned, but the flow is going with the breath. And when we can have an equal balance of those two, we can really light our life on fire, our purpose, our passion, our business. Everything just really goes, and we feel in alignment and we have fun with it instead of just hustling. We're hustling with a heart, if that makes sense. Does that explain it?
That sounds good to me.
All right.
Hustle with the heart.
Yes.
Awesome. So I'm curious, how have you discovered fire and flow in your life?
Okay. The fire was a little bit easier for me. I don't know if it was always genuine fire, more so than maybe just upbringing. I grew up in the Midwest. It was the work ethic. Life is meant to be hard. You got to work harder to achieve more. And it was a little bit of a go, go, go. mentality. And so I knew how to work hard, and that fire piece, I also am a fire in every sense and in who I am. So between those two, the fire was easy. However, that fire was, I don't want to say disingenuine, if that's not the correct word, but it was maybe a forced, that's the word, the forced fire in a lot of ways. So when you pay attention to how your energy is feeling, like how you're feeling, not just driving through, but tapping in and how am I feeling? How am I feeling about what I'm doing, and falling, am I in love with what I'm doing, how I'm living my life, who I'm serving, how I'm serving them, all of those things. When you start getting in alignment with those things, and that just takes time and trial and error and paying attention. And the more you do that, the fire comes from a deeper place, like that hustle with that heart starts coming from there. And that's when you're lit up, and the flow just seems to happen with that. Very much is alignment. When you're in that alignment, the flow really seems to happen. So instead of working harder, doing more, your business, your life seems to expand and accelerate. But at the same time, you're not pushing harder. You're not pushing at all. You're really going with the flow of it, and the two just sync. To find the fire and the flow is just it's a matter of paying attention while not being afraid to try different things, and how you feel with who you're serving, what you're doing.
So I'm curious, and I'm sure this is probably just obvious, but why are you so passionate about sharing this with other folks?
Yes, this same answer is the one I just gave, because I was all in my fire, and fire will lead to burnout if you don't have the balance of both. So you got to have both, or you can drive, and some people can drive a really long time, like a whole lifetime of going through burnout. But it's so important not to be there. That is not where the joy, that is not where life is found. And that's not where true success is found in that space. So I was so there, and I want to help. A lot of times I believe our mess, and not a lot of times, I believe our mess is our message. And that was my mess in a sense. I was pushing. I always can do that. I have that mindset. I can go that route, and maybe others are in that flow where they can't find that fire. When you can find that and bring both pieces into your life is so much more full of joy, and it just flows. So that is, my mess. It was my mess.
So I'm curious, girl, you got to give us some examples here. Now, we're talking to direct sellers, and I'm sure people have had their direct sellers mess, because I know I've had mine, being in it as long as I have. Can you share an example where your fire was higher than your flow, and maybe what was the result of it? And then after you had figured this thing out, how it was different?
Ooh, yes. All right. I'm going to give it from a leadership standpoint, because a lot of things are easier to see when you're standing back, and how I was running my team and leading my team, because I didn't have an upline. So I was left to find it for myself. So I went all in and dove in and learned. And then, as it happens, you build a team. And now I'm in a leadership position. And I thought, how do I give them this fire? How do I make them help them get to these dreams and visions they shared with me? How do I help them get there? Well, all I knew was one thing, and that was the fire. So I'm going to help them. I'm going to hold them accountable to checking the boxes and doing the behaviors that will lead them to this. And a lot of people can really step into that. And they did. They stepped in, and they went in, and they were checking the boxes, and they were doing all the things, and they were having the success. And then the burnout came, and I saw them burning out, and I saw their lack of joy, because they were just doing to do and go and do more. And that's when it really hit me, when I realized, when I could see it in other people. Because maybe, how this is going to be, Inga, I'm sorry about this analogy, but fitness journey, always an easy analogy for me. You see yourself naked in the mirror all the time, and you don't always see the transformation that's happening. So I was seeing myself go through that, but I wasn't really seeing it, what a great transformation how I had come through this discovery of fire. and flow in my life, in my business. But when I saw it in my team, that's when I realized what was going on. And I knew right away that we had to help them find that purpose-driven, soul-driven, intentional, that place where their fire isn't coming from mindset alone and they're just going to do it by golly, but I just say by golly, they're not just going to do it, but they're going to feel that energy behind it. Like they're excited to do it. They're in love with what they do. They're in love with their clients, and they can't wait to build whatever they're building. And so that's where the shift happened for me with my team. And now that's really how I've expanded to help other coaches and other people in our space to do that as well, to find that, because when, like I mentioned, when you asked how you find that, once you find that fire, the flow comes. So they come together. They're two in one. It's kind of like that male feminine energy balance. It is that. So does that give you a good example?
Yeah, it does. It does. One thing I did want to bring up that I wanted to highlight that I thought was key in what you said is that you said you did not have an upline.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was very key in saying that, because I know a lot of people, for whatever reason, feel they're not where they want to be because their upline is not doing X, Y, and Z. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, you are in business for yourself. You are an independent contractor with the right to control your own business. So if she's not or he's not giving it to you, then you need to find it out. I mean, there is a thing called Google that you can find out different things, and you can hire a coach. Now, I know maybe you may not necessarily want to do that, but it comes down to the point is, how bad do you want it?
Yes.
And what are you willing to do to make it happen? Granted, maybe it should be free for you. Maybe it's somebody else inside your direct sales company that you can talk to that's a leader. But the thing you have to think about is that more than likely, if you do that particular person is going to want to know that your upline is aware of what you're doing and that it's cool with them. And in some cases, they may not be cool with that. They may be like, hey, if I'm not giving it to you, I don't want you to get it from somebody else. Even if they're not giving it, even if he or she's not giving it to you. So that's when you really want to think about, well, who can I talk to outside of my company that could particularly help me do what I need to do? Because I don't want people to use that as a clutch where I'm not where I want to be in my business because my upline is not doing what I would like her to do, or she's not teaching me what I need to know. Because you have control over your business. And I love that you said that. And you said that without me even telling you to say that.
Yeah,
That's what winners do. They figure it out. They figure it out, and they're going to go over, around, under, or through to get it done. And they're not going to let anyone hold them back. So I'm so glad that you shared that with us, because I think that's really key in helping people realize what it takes to be successful. Do you have anything else to say in line with that?
Oh, so much, but I'll try to keep it short. But yeah, you're a business owner, you're a CEO, and the only thing that's going to hold you back is you. A CEO doesn't show up to the meetings or doesn't host meetings or doesn't figure things out after they become a CEO. That's how they got there. So acting like I held team calls, not kidding. I held team calls before I had a team because I wanted to practice. I wanted to learn. And so I would sit there on Zoom by myself and record and learn how to use it and do the things, learn how to lead and come up with topics. And sometimes I would have a kind friend or client show up, but I really didn't have a team yet. And it's that resourcefulness you just said you will go over, under, and through to really create that for yourself. And honestly, it was the best gift because it's so important not to lean on someone else. It's great to have those resources. Like I've spent a lot of time like, are there resources? Finding the resources. There's Google, there's YouTube. Didn't Rachel Hollis write her book without a college degree, right? Millionaire?
Yes. That's
Yeah.
a perfect example.
Through
Yeah.
YouTube. She Googled and self-taught.
Yeah, and she talks about that so much in all of her books, how she was able just to figure it out. And I think so many times people want us to hold their hand and show them step by step how to do it. But if you want this bad enough, I shouldn't have to hold your hand. I shouldn't have to motivate you. I shouldn't have to inspire you, because you are self-motivated. You're self-inspired on your own because you want this, and you're going to do whatever it takes to get it.
I think people sometimes are looking for a magic pill. And again, here I'm going to go to the fitness analogy, but if there was a pill that would give you the benefits of a workout and eating healthy, there's no way I would take it, because you know what? Then you're skipping the growth that happens along the way.
Exactly.
Same with your business. There's no magic. Like, people get on calls or they get on a training waiting for the magic, and there's not a magic. You have to go through that growth, and it's literally a paycheck that's attached to your personal growth. And you can't skip that growth. You got to go through it and find it and become that leader for yourself, which is the greatest gift of it when you really truly look at it and embrace it that way. Like, I'm not the same person I was 5 years ago at all. And I'm so grateful for that. Like, just the growth that comes with it.
Right.
And I better not be in 5 years either.
You want to be a continuous improvement project.
Yes.
Yes. So with that said, how can someone start to discover their fire and flow today?
How can they discover it today? It's honestly just what we were just talking about. Start. And when I started with my company, I kind of hid behind the company in a sense, where I am a representative of them. And as I grew, I realized I am a human with great potential and great purpose. We were all put on this earth. Like, God, the universe, whoever you believe in, does not create junk. We are here for a reason. And when you start tapping into that, and then realizing that this is a platform where you get to help others grow with that through your business, wow, what a gift that is. So, but I wouldn't have known that without starting where I started. So it's just a matter of getting started and, like I keep saying, paying attention to what feels good and leaning into that. For instance, I just shared with you, Inga, I did grow my business on social media, but I realized that's not a very high vibe place for me. Like, oh my gosh, right? This is where we were taught to grow our business. And I am no longer on the social media platforms because that was not high vibe, high energy for me. That's not where I'm going to do my best work. That's not where I'm going to attract my people. So I do that in person. So I shifted to that and paying attention to where I do my best work, when we're in our best energy, we're going to do our best work. We're going to attract our people. And also, who are your people? Who are you looking for? And find, where are they? Are they focusing in on that? Are you the person that the person you're looking for is looking for? That's something I say to myself every day in that growth piece. But yeah, it's just a matter of getting started, going for it, paying attention, and build off your strengths. Build off the things that you're great at. And yes, there's no job in this world, there's no business in this world that there aren't some pieces that we aren't going to love. I'm not saying you can avoid everything that you don't love, but when you build off your strengths, you'll really, and who you do your best work with and where you feel your best, and that everything is going to start coming together. But there's only one way to find that, and that's getting in there and getting started and getting messy with it. And don't be afraid to fail. Failure is the most beautiful thing. Here I go with another fitness analogy, but you can't grow a muscle without hitting muscle failure. And you can't grow yourself without hitting failure and failing forward. And if you're not failing, you're not stretching yourself and being challenged.
I so agree. It is so important to fail forward. But it's amazing that you say that, but the average person doesn't feel that, because what are we taught? You think about when you were raised and growing up, your parents are insisting that you get good grades, because good grades are going to get you into that good school. And then when you get in that good school, you're going to be able to graduate and get that good job that you can work for 30 plus years so you can get that gold watch. But I don't know about everybody else, but I never realized that you were poor after that. They didn't tell me your retirement, is top 3 years, your top earning years, and you'll get the average of that, and you only get 30% of that average. No one ever told me that part of it. And when I realized that, I was just like, so I'm doing all of this to be poor at the end? I mean, come on now. That was one of the reasons why I wanted to have my own business, because I did not want to be poor at 65. Mm-hmm. And I got so tired of people telling me, well, Inga, at that time, your house is paid for and you're not driving as much as you used to, so you don't need a new car. I was just like, look, spare me the details about being broke, okay? Because that's basically what you're telling me right now. And trying to make it sound like it's okay.
Yes, I'm going to piggyback off that, if that's okay.
Oh, no, you're so fun. Yes. Go right ahead.
Yes, because I actually remember, I don't have a very good memory, but I do remember this specific moment when I was young, and I said to my father, I'm like, wait, so if I get this right, I'm going to go to school to get a job. I do it for 30 years and then I retire, and that's when I can start traveling and living my life. And he's like, yes. And I said, well, I think we got to flip that. Like, I mean, I hope that I'm healthy at that age, but that's like, why would we spend the majority of our life, and especially our best years, waiting for retirement that we're not even guaranteed?
Exactly.
And he's just said, that's the way it is. And that was probably my first, like, I'll never forget that. And I was kind of searching, and I'm not going to go into my whole story, but to find fire and flow, to go back to that question, you have to take some risks too, and diving into this. Like, just our family moved across the country, and just that alone, we were leaving that we had built a dream house, lived on the lake. We had both the kids were doing all the things they were supposed to do. We were doing all the things we were supposed to do, the income, and everything's great. But that was complete fire making it happen without the flow. And we decided to leave that to expand and open our lives to other opportunities. So when we moved from Minnesota to Colorado, talk about not knowing what we were going to do or how we were going to make it and how we were going to support these kids and how we were going to do it all. But we also trusted that it would all come if we continued to just explore and get into it. And so grateful, because I wouldn't be here doing this with you if I hadn't done that. And so it took that. I'm not saying leave your house or leave your job or anything like that, but also be willing and be open to those challenges and to those opportunities. And everything is an opportunity for growth.
I would totally agree. I guess I had that kind of transition as well. Many folks that follow me know that I was laid off. I was an engineer, had been an engineer for over 20 years and was laid off, and was really just at a crossroads trying to decide what I was going to do. If I was going to find another engineering job, or was I going to actually pursue my entrepreneur dream of being a full-time entrepreneur, because it was something I had always thought about and dreamed about, but really was somewhat reluctant in doing, because like you, I was thinking, okay, well, how am I going to pay for the things that I have? I mean, I have a lifestyle that I've become accustomed to. How am I going to maintain that lifestyle and still walk out my dream? And it has worked out for me. It's been definitely a journey of trials and tribulations, but something I definitely wouldn't take back, because the things that I've learned about myself and even just my business know-how, I would have never been able to accomplish or even acquire if I wasn't in it. And it's amazing how when you take that safety net away, where you're literally making yourself figure it out.
Mhm.
It's completely different type of atmosphere
Yeah.
that it would be for you to say, well, I can just go get another job. No, you're just like, okay, no, I'm going to figure it out. Sink or swim, I'm going to figure it out.
Yes,
So yeah, makes a huge difference.
it does. You have to have that. You have to find that for yourself. And some
You do.
people, if you have the job and you have that security, you got to find that other fire for yourself.
Right.
And it might be having a greater purpose in your life, or there's just so many things that might be, but you have to have to go over and under, and to be resourceful and to make it happen, you have to have a deep fire in your soul
For
to do
sure.
that. And that's personal. Nobody can give that to you. Somebody
No.
actually messaged me and asked me, can you tell me what will get me going? No, that's in your heart.
Yep, that's true.
Yes.
For sure. Well, it has been a pleasure talking to you, girlfriend.
Too.
I wanted to ask you if you had anything you wanted to share. I do have your link tree, so I'll share that with the viewers. But share with us what's in the link tree and what they would have access to if they were able to connect with you.
Yes, absolutely. I have two links within that. One is for nutrition and gut health. And if I'm speaking a foreign language when I talk about gut health, I really, speaking of fire and flow, our gut is our second brain. And so when our gut is unhealthy, it affects everything in our life. And I've even had people who have come into this program for gut health healing saying, I don't need it, but I'm curious. And they were the ones who discovered they needed it the most, because it affects our mood, it affects our energy, it affects how we interact with people. It affects so much. It's not just about the bloating and the physical signs, but it actually, it's our second brain. So our gut health is so important. And just nutrition. It's been a passion of mine. I used to be an elementary school teacher, and I realized how the kids were eating. And I really believe we can change America if we as the moms, as the adults start shifting that, and we can change that nutrition for future generations, because nutrition is not complicated. Our society has complicated it. So simple and sustainable is what it's all about. And fitness, same thing. It's about, I've got the other link there is for movement, mindfulness, and bringing that all together. I actually have a fitness program about fire and flow. One day is your fire day, and helps those people who are more in the flow find that fire, and the opposite day is the flow, and really sitting in that uncomfortable and moving through it. So but yes, there's free samples of both of those attached to that, or connecting to me, and I can send those to you as well. So that's what we got there, some fitness and nutrition, because I do feel like that physical piece is important
Oh
to.
yes, for sure. It is definitely important. Definitely important. Well, it's been a pleasure hanging out with you, Emily. I'm sure for those of you that are interested in the things that she's providing, the freebies, be sure to connect with her so she can help you out with your I guess really your wellness. That's really what you're talking about, the wellness in general. And for those that are watching, thanks for watching. If you're watching the replay, you can be sure to comment hashtags in the comment, hashtag replay in the comments, or hashtag live to let us know how you were receiving this information. And as always, thanks for watching, and bye for now.
Thank you.